Good afternoon. Welcome to our National Championship Award Ceremony. First, I want to say congratulations to the 48 teams that competed this weekend. I know you left it all out in the courtroom. You started this year with pesticides, and to reward you for making this far, we gave you bed bugs. I had the pleasure of seeing parts of 2 trials this weekend, and they were phenomenal. And if they are anything like the other trials that you all put on, I know we had some incredible competition this weekend. So congratulations to everybody. On Friday, I spent a lot of time thanking people who made this season possible. And today, I'd like to take a moment to thank all of you, AMTA's competitors. I know that those of you who were with us last year were absolutely crushed when we had to cancel the remaining orcs and the national championship tournament. And I know that this year you've had a lot of challenges. You've had to learn how to learn and work remotely, many of you from your own homes, and many of you while taking care of other important responsibilities like your siblings or parents or elderly family members, while studying for graduate and professional school exams, coping with all of the tragedy that we've seen in the news during the past year in particular, and with the tragic loss of life that so many of us have experienced this year. And just generally, we've all had to try to keep it together as we make it through this once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. And yet somehow you managed to show up at practice, to compete at invitationals, at regionals, orcs, and you made it through 4 rounds of the national championship. So thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for continuing to mock, and congratulations. I also know that for some of you, this is your very last weekend of college mock trial. Our seniors will be leaving us and we will miss you. And so I'd like to welcome AMTA representatives Amelia and Elise to the Zoom to please come on and say a few words about our seniors.
Hi all. So this moment at any and at all tournaments, always and without fail, brings me to tears. From nostalgia to exhaustion, and most importantly to joy for the seniors, whether it was before I was a senior myself, when I was a senior, or well after I had graduated. I experienced the full range of emotions. And this seniors, they had one heck of a year. So I imagine that the moment I turn my camera off, I will again be brought to tears. The seniors this year, as Brandon stated, they competed entirely on Zoom. They learned how to lead their teams on Zoom. They learned how to conduct crosses and direct examinations and how to be sort of the best competitors and the best leaders in their program that they could be. And we absolutely didn't want to miss this opportunity to honor them.
So normally what we would do is we would have all of our seniors stand up and everyone would look around at all of them and applaud. To emulate that this year, what we would like is if you are a senior, if this is your last year of competition, whether this also happens to be your first year of competition or whether you're using your 5th year of AMTA eligibility, come up on screen, and I would like every single person, we have 315 people in this Zoom, every single one of you please unmute and clap for all of your seniors.
Yeah! Sydney and Thomas! Sydney, let's go, Thomas! Yeah!
We are so proud of you all and so thankful to you all for sticking with us through the weirdest, craziest AMTA season ever.
With that, we'll turn it over to Glenn.
Thank you, Amelia and Elise. And congratulations to all the seniors. I know this was a tough year. We're all really, really proud of you and we wish you the best. And selfishly, I hope that we hear from you again. Like I said on Friday, I hope that you will stay involved, coach a program, judge some rounds, volunteer on a committee in the future, apply to join the AMTA board, help us make this organization the best organization for our community that it can be. But for now, I just hope that you enjoy everything that you've accomplished this year. So I know that you want the results and you won't have to wait very long to get them. But before we announce the awards, I want to introduce you to Mr. Nicholas Gowan, if he can come on the Zoom. Mr. Gowan is our keynote speaker this afternoon. He's a former AMTA competitor and coach. He's a partner and trial attorney at Burke, Warren, McKay, and Saratella in Chicago, where he serves as lead trial and appellate counsel in real estate litigation, trade secrets, employment matters, and other business disputes, representing global companies and entrepreneurs. He's been honored as one of Chicago's top 40 under 40 game changers, and he was selected by Crane's Custom Media as one of Chicago's notable minority lawyers. He graduated with honors from the University of Illinois at Chicago, where he was Phi Beta Kappa, and he earned his law degree from the University of Illinois Chicago College of Law. We've asked Nicholas to help us welcome and congratulate each of you because he's a former AMTA competitor and coach and a very devoted member of our community, having served on the final round panel for the One Last Time tournament and on our final round panel this evening. I'll now turn it over to Nicholas.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate you having me today. More than anything else, I think this is an honor, and it's one that I cannot imagine having in the 16 years that I participated in AMTA. I really can't explain in adequate words how special it is for me to speak to this community and to help judge the final round. Of all the activities, meetings, conferences that went by the wayside last year.
Nick, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I think you might be muted.
I'm back.
Sorry about that.
It's all right. Of all the activities, meetings, conferences that went by the wayside last year, not having the chance to address you last year in my hometown of Chicago was one of my biggest regrets. But I know that does not compare to the heartache many of you had in not being able to compete in last year's NCT, not to mention the carnage that was all of 2020. But I mention that only as a small measure of what I feel the role that AMTA played in my life. AMTA played an oversized yet critical role in my life in college at the University of Illinois, Chicago, and that continued for 12 more years when I coached the team. My involvement with AMTA predates my kids, my marriage, my legal career, but I can honestly say that it was a pivotal experience that allowed me to grow and develop as a person and eventually as a lawyer and an advocate. I think about my training frequently when I step in front of judges and juries. I think of the relationships that I built and cultivated during my time involved in this organization. But before I get into any of that, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I don't consider myself an old man besides the bald head, the graying hair, and the persistent back pains, but to this group, I probably am. I began participating in mock trial 25 years ago in 1996 as a freshman at the University of Illinois, Chicago. I competed for 4 years. I won some individual awards, and my teams won a couple regional championships and bids to the NCT. I went away to law school, but the lure of AMTA drew me back home, and I coached UIC's team for 12 years between 2005 and 2017. Now, to tell you how old I really feel now is the majority of people on this call probably hadn't even begun mock trial, let alone begun college, when I ended my coaching career. So along the way in real life, I've been trying cases, business disputes as a partner in a mid-sized firm in Chicago. Now, the question is, does any of that give me the authority to take a few minutes out of your day to talk to you? I don't know. Maybe not. But when you give a trial attorney the floor, he's going to take it and perform. When Brandon contacted me and said, do you want to speak? I said, absolutely. I can say this. AMTA was a part of my life for 16 years, nearly 40% of my life, and that alone should give me a little bit of credibility with this group. From the moment I picked up a Malway book until I passed the coaching reins in 2017, I dreamt of hoisting that NCT trophy. I vividly remember practicing and screwing up my first opening statement as clearly as I remember nervously standing in front of a jury as a 3L law student delivering an opening statement in a case trying to put a child rapist in prison. I remember the facts of both cases, both mock trial and real, as clearly as a contract case that I tried just 2 weeks ago. That's the impact that this activity had on my life. Like all of you, I remember the long days and nights, the practices and competitions, the rubber chicken banquets, the long waits for ballots and awards, the judges that gave everyone all 10s and 1 9, the camaraderie and the friendships. But I also remember the frustration and the heartache. During my 16-year career as a competitor and a coach, I never got the chance to compete in the final round or lift that championship trophy. Frankly, the closest I came was my sophomore year in 1998 when we finished 7th in our division. So in the 16 years I was involved in AMTA, the vast majority of that time was spent chasing a dream that I never caught. But I'm here today to tell you that that's not failure, not by any stretch. My AMTA career was a success because I learned informative lessons and met great people that have carried me forward in my life. And that is what I want to spend a couple minutes today talking to you about. The key is, don't let somebody else take your shine. To say it in a different way is, don't let someone else qualify your definition of success. Let's start by saying I'm solidly Generation X. I believe that every competition, they're winners and they're losers. I don't believe in participation trophies. I believe that losing sucks. But I believe that both winning and losing builds character and the desire and motivation to work harder. However, there is a difference between the concept of winning versus losing and the concept of success. You can win by cheating and not be successful. On the other hand, you can fail to win a championship and still be incredibly successful. Success isn't exclusive to that last team that's going to be standing this evening. Nearly 650 teams and 5,000 students started this process this year and just about every year, but only one team and maybe 10 students will remain. Now, sure, they're the champion, and to the victors belong the spoils, but that doesn't mean that the rest of you aren't successful. The thrill is in the chase, the hunt, the fight. So I've got 4 key takeaways that I hope you will indulge me and you'll take with you as you start your careers. Number 1, losses happen. Don't be overconfident. No matter how hard you and your team grind, this is a subjective game that we all play. All you can do is prepare and position yourself for victory. And if you do that, you will be successful. When I competed, I studied different styles and cadences. I watched tapes of my performances and that of other competitors. I listened intently to the cadence and messaging of my pastor and my favorite rappers to better understand how to tell stories and convey messages in short spurts. You could not tell me that I couldn't rely on Jay-Z and Nas to provide a storytelling the same as I could provide my pastor's cadence to be able to convince a jury what I wanted to convince them of. I read outside materials and consulted subject matter experts to better understand the mock trial topic of the year. The case my junior year involved an airplane fuel tank malfunction. So I signed up with the U.S. Marine Air Corps, pretending that I was interested in flying, to have the opportunity to speak with the pilots and the airplane mechanics to better understand how the machinery worked. I'm afraid of heights and I don't really like flying, but I needed to know how this device worked to help my team. Let's say my stomach wasn't ready for the test flight that the Marine captain took me on, but regardless, I learned a lot that helped me understand that case material and to position our team for success. You could not tell me that I wasn't a quarterback figuring out how to craft the best offensive game plan or how to dissect a tough defense. There was not a trial round that my teams entered in 16 years that I feel that we weren't prepared and should take both ballots. That's even if we were facing a team that was objectively better than us. That was my level of confidence. And in 16 years, we always advanced out of regionals. But my teams only made the NCT 6 times. Before Orcs existed, the top 2 teams from every regional got direct bids to the NCT, and the next 4 to 5 teams got bids to what was called a silver tournament. Then the top 4 teams from that tournament got the final slots in the NCT. We missed the NCT 6 times by less than 2 points in one round, whether in failing to get a direct bid out of regionals once, the silver tournament twice, or Orcs 3 times. I remember those losses and rounds clearly. The difference between a win and a loss is negligible. It rarely has anything to do with your particular performance on a particular day. So don't let the loss define you or dissuade you. You won't win every time. The lesson is that even if you bust your butt every single day for 6 months, a small mistake or someone's subjective opinion could take from you from being at the top of the mountain to the bottom in a moment's notice. However, you can't let that define your abilities or your heart. You can't tell me that those 6 teams weren't successful, even if they never made the NCT. No different than you can't tell me that the teams that made the tournament but didn't place weren't successful. You will learn, if you haven't already, that you won't win every case. Even the ones you should win, you may not. The ones where the facts and law are on your side, where you have a sympathetic story or the other side is objectively bad. It happens to all of us. The key is you need to have both a short memory and a long memory. The short memory allows you to not let losses fester to take over your mind and prevent you from moving forward. The long memory, however, will never allow you to forget the feeling, the hurt, the pain, the disdain. Use it as motivation to not make the same errors again. Remember, I told you about my first real trial trying a child rapist. What I didn't tell you is that we lost that case. The reason was that we overcharged the defendant based on the evidence. The jury took a very technical reading that we did not anticipate. I was working with a senior prosecutor and she thought the horrific facts would be enough to influence the jury. It wasn't. The takeaway from that loss for me was to be very precise in jury instructions. Don't try to prove more than you have the evidence to prove. The other takeaway was don't expect the jury to bail you out if you don't provide them the facts necessary to deliver the verdict you want. We should have won that case. We had the facts, the law, the victim. We overcharged the crime and screwed up. No sugarcoating. I started my career 0-1 in possibly the most devastating loss I've had in my career. Because remember, I try business cases now, so money's at stake, not people's lives. I've kept that with me for my entire career. I've never made those mistakes again, and I haven't lost another trial that I should have won since then. Number 2, surround yourself with great people. No one wins alone. My dad taught me that you must be your own best friend. His point was that you're the only person that you can steadily rely on at all times. However, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have good friends and colleagues that will always have your back. Because there will be plenty of days that you will need someone to fight a battle for you when you're not in the room. You need somebody who will tell you the truth when you don't want to hear it. But at the same time, you need somebody to hear you complain when nobody else wants to hear your mouth. The strong teams here have the strong cohesion. I'll tell you that in 16 years, I only had 2 or 3 teams that objectively weren't good, despite our record. The common denominator in every single one of those teams was a lack of cohesion and a team that didn't look out for each other. That fact continues into the real world. Strong teams succeed, weak ones fail. Number 3, celebrate all your victories. Never be shy about your success. There will be a lot of hard days. There will be plenty of days that you want to quit or think you're not worth the fight, but you've got to fight through it. Fight the urge to doubt. Fight that little demon in your ear saying you're not good enough. So when there's time to celebrate, do that. There will always be negative voices out there looking to keep you down. Ignore them. I'm not going to demur. Nobody's ever going to take my shine. Every time I win, I publicize it. But don't just celebrate yourself. Use it as an opportunity to uplift others. Every time I win a case, I publicize it to my firm internally and to the world on LinkedIn, because I want the world to know that it's not just me, but it's also the people I'm working with who are successful. I use it as an opportunity to highlight my team because everyone wants a little bit of shine. And something that you will learn as you get further into your career is that the law is a business. Like Jay-Z said, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. The key is your wins add to your business acumen. The more you can tell the world how special you are, legitimately so, the more the world will know you're special. And fourth takeaway, diversity and inclusion must be relevant in your life. I would be remiss if I failed to take this opportunity speaking to this group of future leaders to address an issue that's important to me. The state of Midlands may be a closed universe, but we don't live in Midlands. Tomorrow, closing arguments will begin in the murder trial of Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer who lynched George Floyd on a street corner in a major American city in broad daylight for the violation of allegedly passing a fake $20 bill. All of this for the world to see. Now, let's not be mistaken. This was not the first time that police in this country killed an unarmed Black man, nor is this the first time that it was widely publicized. To quote Professor Cornel West from his best-selling book from the early 1990s, Race Matters. It always has and always will in this country. It's the foundation for which we exist. Many of you were told the lie early in your life when Barack Obama was elected president that we live in a post-racial society. Based on what has been thrust upon all of our eyes these last few years, everyone should understand the reality is far different. Race will always matter in politics, in education, in medicine, in policing, and in the courts. I spoke on a panel a few days ago when someone asked if we were nearing a point of diversity exhaustion. The answer to that question is yes, but so what? Just because something is hard to talk about doesn't mean we ignore it. Just because something is uncomfortable doesn't mean we wish it away. We fight through it. For generations, we've been ignoring and pretending that systemic racism does not exist in this country and has gotten us nowhere. We are at a day of reckoning, and it is up to your generation to help carry us forward. We are at a point where our democratic republic is at a tipping point. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not your job to change 400 years of our history, but it is your job to embrace differences and be models for inclusivity. It is your job to understand history, because if you don't, it is bound to repeat itself. For you English majors, Faulkner wrote, "The past is never dead, it's not even past." The moment we're living in is not fundamentally different than the period of Reconstruction after slavery, the Civil Rights Movement in the 1960s, or racial reckoning following the war on drugs that occurred in this country in the early 1990s. It's a time that the world is ready to listen after a period of ignoring glaring problems. Don't waste the opportunity. The answer to these problems isn't race neutrality, as race neutrality is nothing more than assimilation. See, in college, it's easier to embrace diversity because there are outlets on campus. But I want to challenge you to do the same when you leave those hallowed halls. In the world, it's too easy to retreat to the familiar corners of your racial, religious, and cultural familiarities. I want to challenge you to do more. I challenge you to embrace other cultures, not just to expect people to assimilate to your culture. We all have biases. Admit your ignorance. Ask questions. Be vulnerable. Embrace the opportunity to grow and learn from others. Now, as I say this, let me say Ramadan Kareem to our Muslim brothers and sisters. I also want to say that we stand with our Asian brothers and sisters in the Sikh community that may have been targeted in a horrific shooting in Indianapolis this weekend, as well as the constant attack on the Latino and Hispanic immigrant communities in this country. See, my mock trial and college career opened my eyes to people and cultures that I had never experienced. I knew nothing about Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, had never heard of Lunar New Year. I'm a Black dude from the South Side of Chicago. Diversity to me was Black, Mexican, American, and Irish. But I learned and I grew. My best friends in mock trial ended up coming from communities that were diametrically different than where I had grown up. 3 of them are on this call right now. I took that understanding of those cultures with me as I entered the world. I became an advocate for those people and cultures in my circles, the same as they became an advocate and ally for me in their circles. That matters. If you choose, you will enter a legal profession in the next 3 to 7 years after walking away from AMTA that is as homogenous as it was when I started 20 years ago and even before. Not much has changed. I may be one of the few Black senior lawyers that you see in a career that has not even begun yet. Let that sink in. I've practiced law for nearly 20 years in Chicago, representing large and small companies alike. But it wasn't until 2 years ago that I worked with or opposite to another Black lawyer on the same case. I live and work in the third largest city in the country with the second or third largest legal market. And yet, those are the type of hurdles that exist. Those are the realities that exist. Those are the realities that you need to understand as you set foot in the real world and away from the state of Midlands. I raise these issues for you to have a fuller understanding as the world that you will enter, and how taking the lessons you learn from AMTA can set you on a path of greater understanding and inclusivity. Now, I hope these few minutes that you've allowed me to grace your presence will resonate at least a little as you proceed and advance in your careers and lives. Congratulations to all the teams that made it to the NCT. You're all successful. I look forward to seeing the teams in the championship round, and I look forward to seeing some of you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. Those remarks were incredible. They were powerful, and we're going to make sure that we leave them up so that people can see them and watch them again. I know that I will. And I just want to thank you. I know you're incredibly busy. You have a lot going on. So thank you for taking the time to speak with us this afternoon and for coming back this evening to serve on the final round panel.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It was an honor.
Yeah, we really appreciate being graced by your presence today. And I think, there's a lot that we can take away and learn from what you told us. So I am now going to just tell everybody that Mr. Gowan is going to leave the Zoom because he is judging the final round, and we want to make sure that he doesn't learn the identities of the two teams in that round. But we will post an announcement this evening on the AMTA website that will include information about Mr. Gowan and about Ms. Pierre Bravo, who spoke at the opening ceremony, so that you can learn more about them and reach out to them as well. So thank you very much, Mr. Gowan. I was actually planning to go ahead to the awards right now. I know that's what you really want to hear, but I was actually just told that we've got a breaking news announcement. And so I'm sorry to sort of interrupt what we were planning to do. I'm going to ask Neil Schuett, the chairperson of the Criminal Case Committee and an AMTA director, to join me on the Zoom. Neil, what's going on?
Yes, thank you, Brandon. I know our viewers are itching to find out the final verdict in the Walton case, but as Brandon said, we do need to interrupt our coverage of that trial with some breaking news. I think it's fair to say that everyone in Midlands remembers our live coverage last year of what occurred at Chuggy's Bar and Grill. Those tragic events, the loss of a pillar of our community, and the later arrest of Dakota Sutcliffe. It sent shockwaves through our state. Our coverage of Sutcliffe's trial, conviction, and life sentence dominated national news. But if you stopped paying attention after that, then you may have missed the appeal. Today, the Midlands Supreme Court reversed Sutcliffe's conviction after unanimously holding that the felony murder rule is unconstitutional. Now, what that means for all the inmates currently incarcerated on that charge is unknown. But what we do know is that Sutcliffe's case has been sent back to the trial court for further proceedings. County prosecutors were quick to release a statement that, quote, Sutcliffe will be held accountable once again for the loss of life and harm caused, end quote. They went on to say that they'll be ready to retry this case by mid-August. Stay tuned to BNN's social media accounts for all the hottest takes on this developing story. And now, back to our coverage of the Weston Meyer and Walton trial.
Thank you, Neil. Looking forward to learning more about the Sutcliffe case as the summer progresses. Okay, time for the awards. The first award that we will announce is the Spirit of AMTA Award. And to tell us a little bit more about that award, I'm going to turn it over to AMTA Tournament Administration Chair, Melissa Watt. We will then leave it in the hands of our AMTA representatives, who will take this home and announce the All-American attorneys, the All-American witnesses, the All of the teams that made the top 10 in both divisions and our 2 championship teams. So to tell us about the Spirit of AMTA Award, I will turn it over to Missy Watt.
Thanks, Brandon. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to talk to you about the Spirit of AMTA Award. As Brandon described in the opening ceremony, this activity is about so much more than the points and the ballots. And it is our sincere hope that you will leave better, both yourself and leave the activity better than when you started. Partially because you can now deliver a searing cross-examination or coolly respond to a searing cross-examination, and partially because you have the confidence to stand and speak well. But also because of the people that you have met, the friendships that you have built, and the friends, coaches, and opponents that have pushed you to be better. I know this from firsthand experience. Some of you may know that the first time I met Brandon Harper was in Memphis, Tennessee in 2005, when he was cross-examining me as Detective Walsh. And Justin Bernstein, the first time I met him, was when he judged me in a scrimmage against his NYU team at the Silver Tournament in, I think it was 2004. And they are now 2 of my dearest friends. And I would love to echo the comments of Nick Gowan, but I can tell you that one of the teams that faced his team during the 4th round of a Silver Tournament that he referenced was my Iowa team. I was the captain. And I don't actually remember specifically how the ballots turned out in that round, but I remember his team and I remember Nick, because I remember competing against the teams he coached, and I remember coaching against him after I graduated. And I remember them for their civility, their kindness, and their professionalism. And I say all this because SPAMTA is our award that is given to the team that represents AMTA's ideals of civility, justice, and fair play. And it is dear to me. One of the reasons that it is so important is because it is also the only award that is decided by you. So before I pass this presentation back to the reps, I'd like to take a moment to honor those of you who've already won a Spirit of AMTA award at our tournaments this year. And if you are one of those winners, you are welcome to go ahead and turn your camera on quickly. Please don't unmute, but you can turn your camera on and wave as I'm going to go straight through and read the list. So I'm going to start with our regional winners. Those teams are Harvard, George Washington, who these are teams who either won it or were honorable mention. So George Washington did that twice. Yale, the University of Chicago, who also did that twice. The University of Florida, Penn State, Tufts, University of California, Santa Barbara, William and Mary, who also did that twice at regionals, the University of Michigan, UCLA, UC Davis, UC Berkeley, Wesleyan. And we also have several programs here who won SPAMTA or were honorable mention at Orcs. That includes, again, William and Mary, and again, Michigan. Also, Ohio State, South Carolina, and finally, Portland. Congratulations again on your Spirit of AMTA from our earlier tournaments and for competing at the National Championship Tournament. I would now like to pass the program to our AMTA reps who will announce our Spirit of AMTA winners for this tournament, who will be receiving the one team fee waiver for next year.
Thanks, Missy. I'm very pleased to announce the Spirit of AMTA winner for the Nelmark division, And this is actually a team, you just saw a glimpse of them because this program also won Spirit of AMTA at regionals. So with 28 ranks, team 1022, UC Davis.
Woo!
Congratulations.
And it's my honor to tell you about the winner and the runner-up for the Spirit of AMTA Award in the Ziegler division, because we had a tie at 1 point shy of a perfect record at 29 points out of a possible 30. We were able to break that tie with those rankings that we ask you to give on the ballot. So first, I'd like to recognize our runner-up. With 29 points, they're a great Instagram follow. I recommend you follow Harvard University Mock Trial.
Woo!
Congratulations, Harvard. You guys are awesome. And the winner of the Spirit of AMTA Award from the Ziegler division with 29 out of 30 points and winning the tiebreaker from Baltimore County, Maryland, the Retrievers of UMBC. True grit, baby. All right, and now I'll be turning it back over to the Nelmark division for the All-American Attorney Awards.
All right, I have the honor of kicking off the individual awards for today, starting in the Nelmark division with the All-American Attorney Awards. It took 31 ranks to get an All-American Attorney Awards in the Nelmark division. Starting with 31 on the defense. From team 1495, the Terrapins of the University of Maryland, Isaac Elkind.
Let's go!
Also with 31 ranks, on the plaintiff, Marilyn, you might want to turn your audio back on, Alana Crook.
Let's go!
With 32 ranks, on the defense, from the Emory Eagles, she's also very good at trivia, Ria Lakaraju. Also with 32 ranks on the plaintiff, from team 1049, the Cardinal of Stanford University, Azam Jamahamed. Moving up to 33 ranks, starting with 33 ranks on the defense, from team 1335, the Colonials of George Washington, Jennifer Shopman.
Is that Jennifer Shopman? Oh my God.
That was Jennifer Shopman. With 33 ranks also on the defense, from team 1359, the Golden Gophers of the University of Minnesota, Noah Thompson. Sticking with 33 ranks, but moving to the plaintiff, from team 1270, the Terriers of Boston University, Sam McChris.
Let's go, McChris!
Moving up to 34 ranks, starting on the plaintiff, team 1039, the Sentinels of Patrick Henry College, Benjamin Crosby. Also with 34 ranks on the defense, back to team 1049, the Cardinal of Stanford, Elizabeth Grant.
Yeah.
With 35 ranks on the defense, from team 1130, the Thunder of Wheaton College, Joe Gross.
Woo!
And our last All-American Attorney Award in the Nelmark division, there were no perfect attorneys, but this person did get close. with 39 out of 40 ranks on the defense, from the Sentinels of Patrick Henry College, David Bainbridge. Congratulations to all of the All-American Attorney Awards from the Nelmark Division. And now we kick it over to the Ziegler Division for their All-American attorneys.
Hi, everyone. I am here with your Ziegler Division All-American Attorneys. So I have 11 more All-American Attorney Awards to give out. In this division, it took 29 ranks to become an All-American Attorney. So let's start there. On the plaintiff, from team 1218 Emory University, Danielle Jacoby.
Danielle! Go, Danielle!
Next up, also with 29 ranks, this time on the defense, from team 1294 Tufts University, Bennett Dembski.
Yes! Let's go, Bennett! Let's go! Woo!
Moving on up to 30 ranks on the defense, from team 1479 Harvard, Travis Harper.
Yes, Travis! Yes, sir, Travis.
Also with 30 ranks, also on the defense, from team 1114 UMBC, Thomas Azari.
Thomas!
Moving to 31 ranks on the defense, from team 1156 University of Portland, Madison Johnson. Okay, next up, also with 31 ranks, also on the defense, from team 1102, the University of Chicago, Ethan Shee.
Ethan.
Moving on up, we did not have anyone at 32 ranks, but we did have someone at 33. I don't know what that was. With 33 ranks on the plaintiff, from team 1193, the University of Virginia, James Orr.
Yeah, James.
Next, we had two attorneys at 35 ranks out of a possible 40. On the plaintiff, from team 1105 UCLA, Audrey Shepard.
Yes!
Yes,
Audrey! Audrey!
Woo! Audrey!
Also at 35 ranks, also on the plaintiff, from team 1355 Duke University, AG Chancellor.
Go AG! Yes, sir!
Yes, sir!
Go AG! Next up, moving to 37 out of 40 ranks, on the defense, from team 1502 Florida State, Abigail Branham.
Queen!
Finally, last but certainly not least, our top ranking attorney not only received 39 out of a possible 40 ranks on the defense, she also got 31 ranks on the plaintiff, which qualifies her for an award on both sides of the case. From team 1114 UMBC, Sydney Gaskins.
Yeah!
Okay, congrats to all of the All-American attorneys, and I'm going to turn it back over to the other reps for the announcement of the first All-American witnesses.
Thank you very much, Elise. Hello, everyone. Congratulations on a terrific weekend of competition. It is my honor to name the All-American witnesses in the Nelmark division. And to receive that recognition of All-American, it took 29 ranks. Beginning with 29 ranks on the defense, portraying Blaine Crawford. From team 1335, the Colonials of George Washington, Saul Threadgill. With 29 ranks, also on the defense, this time portraying Jesse Rogers. From Team 1395, the Wolverines of Michigan, Victoria Shanazari.
Victoria!
With 29 ranks, this time on the plaintiff, portraying Dr. Dennis Howe. From Team 1489, the Tribe of William and Mary, Bailey Ward.
Yes, Queen!
Queen Bailey Ward! Sticking with 29 ranks, but moving over to the defense, portraying Blaine Crawford. From Team 1217, the Eagles of Emory University, Carson Sanford.
Carson!
Woo! Yeah, Carson!
Go Carson.
We're going to stick with 29 ranks. We're going to stick with the defense, and we're going to stick with All-Americans portraying Blaine Crawford. Our next All-American witness is from Team 1356, the Blue Devils of Duke University, Ronan Brew.
Yes, sir.
With 29 ranks, this time on the plaintiff, portraying Avery Lawson. From Team 1106, the Bruins of UCLA, Riley Shapiro.
Let's go, Riley! Oh my gosh!
We're still on 29 ranks. We're going to move over to the defense. Our next All-American witness portrayed Blaine Crawford, and it's from Team 1136, the Rams of Fordham Lincoln Center, Elizabeth Weinman. Our final 29 rank All-American witness represented the plaintiff, portrayed Dr. Dennis Howe, and is from Team 1049, the Cardinal of Stanford, Ayesha Pasha. We are finally done with 29 ranks. We are moving on up to 30. Our first 30 rank All-American witness portrayed Dr. Dennis Howe, and is from Team 1101, the Maroons of U Chicago, is Ali Alekri.
Ali!
Sticking with 30 ranks, sticking with the plaintiff, sticking with Dr. Dennis Howe. Our next All-American witness comes from Team 1084, the Timberwolves of Northwood, Lucas Baker. Okay. There we go. There was a little delayed celebration there, but we got there. All right, moving on up to 31 ranks. Our first 31 rank All-American witness did so on the plaintiff, representing Avery Larson. From Team 1130, the Thunder of Wheaton, All-American Gianna Lazaro.
Woo!
With 31 ranks on the plaintiff, portraying Dr. Dennis Howe. From Team 1194, the Cavaliers of Virginia, All-American Kevin Baker.
Hey, Banks. My goodness.
There were no 32 rank witnesses, so we're going to go right on up to 33. Our first 33 rank witness represented the defense, portrayed Blaine Crawford, and comes from Team 1039, the Sentinels of Patrick Henry, All-American Caleb Knox. Our next All-American witness, as we've learned today, is really good trivia and is a really good mock trial attorney. Here's a third thing about her. She's an All-American witness. With 33 ranks on the plaintiff, representing Dr. Dennis Howe from Team 1217, the Emory Eagles, All-American Ria Lakaraju.
Let's go! Ria! Go, Ria!
Ria the GOAT! Ria the GOAT!
Moving on up to 34 ranks, representing the plaintiff, portraying Dr. Dennis Howe, from Team 1359, the Golden Gophers of Minnesota, All-American Colin Abres. There were no 35 rank All-American witnesses, so we're going to go on up to 36 with 36 ranks, representing the plaintiff, portraying Sam Lyons, from Team 1186, the Gators of Florida, All-American David Egloff.
Yes, David!
Let's go, David!
Yeah.
There were no 40 rank witnesses. There were no 39 rank witnesses. Our top ranked All-American witness had 38 ranks on the plaintiff, portraying Dr. Dennis Howe from Team 1593, the Bulldogs of Yale, All-American Colby Bladow.
Let's go, Colby. Let's go. That's my motherfucking baby.
Congratulations to all of the All-American witnesses in the Nelmark division. I will now turn things over to the Ziegler division for their announcements of their All-American witnesses.
Thank you, Mr. DiPolito. It is my honor to present the All-American witnesses from the Ziegler division. We're also 29 rank points were required to earn this honor. So we will start with a 29 ranked Blaine Crawford, an All-American gaucho from UC Santa Barbara, Elena Young.
Yeah, Elena! Freshman!
Let's go!
Freshman supremacy.
Yes. We had another 29 ranked Blaine Crawford, an All-American from Wesleyan University, the Cardinals, Anushka Samani.
Let's go, Anushka!
Woo!
We have a 29 ranked Taylor Bauer, an All-American retriever from UMBC, Natalie Murray.
Let's go! Yes!
A 29 ranked Blaine Crawford, an All-American Red Hawk from Miami University, Jamie Coughlin. Next, we have a double-sided 29 ranks portraying Sam Lyons, 29 ranks portraying Blaine Crawford. This is the only witness who earned a witness award on both sides of the case. An All-American Nittany Lion from Penn State, Jack Hall.
Let's go!
Zach, yay!
We're going to move up now to 30 ranks. We have a 30 ranked Blaine Crawford, an All-American Gamecock from South Carolina, Jacob Smith.
Yeah.
Woo!
Go, Jacob!
Woo! Yeah, Jacob!
We have a 30 ranked Jesse Rogers and an All-American Cavalier from Virginia, India Mabry.
Let's go!
We have a 30 ranked Dr. Howe and another All-American Cavalier from Virginia, Albert Kwan.
Oh my God, nice!
When we're giving out these awards, we don't usually allow for sort of Academy Awards style acceptance speeches. but you know, if it's wanted, I'll make an exception here. We have an All-American Taylor Bauer from the Buckeyes of Ohio State, Tamra Joseph.
Yeah, let's go.
Wait, I want to talk, but every kind has their thing on, so it's gonna turn it down.
I see it.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
here,
no, here, I got it.
okay. America, wow, what can I say? You've all been so supportive, except for that one person that hated on me on the confessions page. That was just really pitiful. Please subscribe to my YouTube, and if you don't, I'll remember it when I'm famous or homeless. In that case, please take me in. Thank you, Jonathan. I'll never forget this.
Moving on now, if we can move on from that. 30 points as an All-American Dr. Howe from the Eagles of Emory, Max Friedman. We have a 30-point Avery Larson and an All-American Ram from Fordham at Lincoln Center, Jessica Ball. Wow. And we're going to finish off our 30 ranked witnesses with an All-American Kieran Walton and an All-American Quaker from Penn, Alfric Arun. We had one All-American witness that finished with 33 points, portraying Dr. Howe. And it's an All-American Gator from Florida, Sahas Chintakayala.
No!
And the top witness in the Ziegler division finished with 35 points, portraying Blaine Crawford. An All-American Jumbo from Tufts, Alexander Thompson.
Yes!
There's the Jumbos. Congratulations to all of the newly minted All-Americans. I will take this opportunity to be the stick in the mud and remind Patrick Henry College B, Chicago B, Virginia A, and Harvard to please submit your team evaluation surveys. With that, Mr. Warhay.
Thank you, Mr. Woodward. I will also be the stick in the mud and remind the teams in the Nelmark division, please submit your team fouls. I won't call you out because there's like 12 of you. So please submit this so we can give you your ballots. My other announcement is that after we finish announcing our top teams, there's two pieces of information you probably want to know. First, our national final round will start at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Second, for any of the teams competing in the national championship, after we finish these awards and finish with the coin flip and everything that goes along with the final round, the adults will leave this Zoom and you guys can stay in the Zoom if you want to and have a watch party for the final round. With that, I'm going to start with the honorable mention teams in the Judge David Nelmark division. It took 8 wins to receive an honorable mention. So our first honorable mention with 8 wins and a CS of 29.5, Team 1130, Wheaton College.
Woo!
Our second honorable mention with a CS of 30.5 and 8 wins, Team 1456, University of California, San Diego.
Woo!
Congrats. With that, I will ask Mr. Woodward, you're back.
I am. I'm proud to announce the honorable mention teams from the Dr. Sarah Ziegler division. The first honorable mention team finished with 8 wins. Honorable mention from Oxford, Ohio, the Red Hawks of Miami University. Our next honorable mention team finished with 8.5 wins. 8 wins and 1 tie from the Windy City, the Maroons of Chicago.
Woohoo!
Yes, Chicago!
Woo!
And our final honorable mention team finished with 9 wins and a combined strength of 29.5. Just one of the most fun programs that you will find, the Knowles of Florida State. There's mom and dad. Congratulations to the honorable mention winners from the Dr. Sarah Ziegler division.
And now, I'm pleased to announce in 10th place, with a record of 8 wins and a CS of 34, Team 1270, the Terriers of Boston University.
Okay, in 10th place in the Dr. Sarah Ziegler division, Jonathan's totally announcing that one, my bad.
Elisa's right though, it's 10th place in the Dr. Sarah Ziegler division, and this one is with 9 wins and a combined strength of 34 from Evanston, Illinois, the Wildcats of Northwestern University.
Let's go NUMT!
Yes!
In 9th place in the Nelmark division with 8 wins and a CS of 35.5. Team 1395, the Wolverines of Michigan.
Next up, in 9th place in the Ziegler division with 9 wins and a CS of 35.5, Penn State.
Woo! Go!
In 8th place in the Nelmark division with 8.5 wins and a CS of 33.5, the Timberwolves of 1084 Northwood.
In 8th place in the Dr. Sarah Ziegler division with 9.5 wins, 9 wins and 1 tie. The Gators of Florida.
In 7th place in the Nelmark division with 8.5 wins and a CS of 34.5. Team 1359, the Gophers of Minnesota.
Yeah!
In 7th place in the Dr. Sarah Ziegler division, we had only one team with 10 wins, and that's Team 1040, Patrick Henry College.
Moving on to 6th place in the Nelmark division with a record of 11 wins, a CS of 32.5, the Cardinals 1049 Stanford.
The sixth place team in the Dr. Sarah Ziegler division finished with a record of 10 wins and 1 tie. It is the Crimson of Harvard.
We're moving into the top 5 in the Nelmark division. So in 5th place with 11 wins and a CS of 33.5, B teams are the best teams, teams 1356, Duke University.
Let's go, Duke! Go! Sir! Yeah!
Moving into the top 5 from the Ziegler division, this is where things get interesting because from 2nd place to 5th place, we had a tie at 11 wins. So in 5th place with a CS of 29.5 and 11 wins, team 1175 Wesleyan University.
Let's go, Wes!
And now, 4th place for the Nelmark division with 11 wins, a CS of 36, the Eagles 1217 Emory.
Yeah!
The 4th place team in the Dr. Sarah Ziegler division finished with 11 wins and a combined strength of 30.5. It's the Blue Devils from Duke University's A team.
Yes, sir! Yes, sir! We'll take it.
In 3rd place in the Nelmark division, we had one team with 12 wins. B teams are still the best teams. Team 1186, University of Florida.
Hey, awesome.
Woo! Let's go!
Next up, in 3rd place with 11 wins and a CS of 39, team 1105, University of California, Los Angeles.
Let's go, baby!
Yay! UCLA.
We're now at 2nd place in the Nelmark division. We had one team that picked up 12.5 ballots and a CS of 38. That's the Sentinels of 1039, Patrick Henry.
Woo!
We are now to 2nd place in the Dr. Sarah Ziegler division. This is the team that won that 4-way tiebreaker at 11 wins with a combined strength, if you can believe it, of 43. The Jumbos of Tufts University.
Yeah! Go Tufts!
So we're here at the top team for the Judge David Nelmark division. The winner of our division and representing the Nelmark division in the national final round, honestly, for more years than I can count, with 13 wins, team 1593, Yale University.
Go Yale!
All right. We're here for a second time, I suppose. The winner of the Ziegler division, who will be representing this division in the national final round, with 14 out of a possible 16 wins, Team 1114 UMBC.
at this time, I need the captains from Yale and the captain from UMBC to come on screen, please. I am just going to log into, hi everyone. Going to log into the Zoom from my phone, and I'll show you why in a minute. All right. So, UMBC finished with the better ballot record than Yale. So that means UMBC, you get to call the coin flip. So I have here, this was, I think, one of my dad's old. He had these old lucky 1972, it's like a big, heavy US dollar coin. So it's, you know, heads on one side, tails on the other. I'm actually going to mute myself.
We cannot hear you.
Don't worry, he joined the wrong Zoom. He's now joining the correct one. We love you, Jalen. It's okay.
Hey, guys. All right. So, UMBC, I'll need you to call the coin flip in the air. And if you are successful, you will get to choose your side. If you are unsuccessful in calling the coin flip, Yale will get to choose their side for the final round. Understood?
Yep.
All right, here we go.
UMBC is calling heads.
The call was heads. It is tails.
We will go defense.
All right. UMBC will be plaintiff. Yale will be defense in the 36th final round.
You're all about to get an email from us with the Zoom information. You should also have access in TAS now on your dashboard to a second event for the national final round, which will give you access to the captain's meeting form for that round. The email will also have more information for you. Good luck.
Thank you so much. Good luck, guys.
Good luck.
Yep, see you in the round. Bye, captains.
Yeah.
UMBC.
For everyone else, thank you for coming. We hope you enjoyed this and hope you enjoyed your weekend and your entire season for AMTA 2021. I'm going to end the live stream now. Thank you, everybody.